You don't realize how much you've lost until you try to make a simple decision. What do you want for lunch? And you freeze. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped knowing. Or worse, you stopped believing that what you want matters. He taught you not to trust yourself. It was subtle at first. A correction here. A dismissal there. You always remember things wrong. That's not what happened. You're being too sensitive. I never said that. Until you started second-guessing everything. Your memory, your feelings, your perceptions, your instincts, the very foundation of who you are. And now he's gone. And you're supposed to trust yourself again. But you don't know how. Because the voice that's supposed to guide you has been silent for so long, drowned out by his voice. The one that told you who you were, what you felt, what you meant when you said things. So you start small, smaller than anyone else would understand. You choose a coffee, not the one he would have approved of, not the practical choice, just the one you want. Caramel, extra whipped cream, completely indulgent, and you drink it without justifying it to anyone. It's just coffee, but it's also the first time in months you've honored a simple preference without asking permission, without bracing for judgment. You notice how you feel, and you don't talk yourself out of it. Someone cancels plans and you feel relieved instead of guilty. You let yourself feel relieved. You don't force yourself to be disappointed because that's what a good friend should feel. Your feeling is your feeling, and it's valid, even if he would have told you it wasn't. You start paying attention to your body, to the signals you learn to ignore. That tightness in your chest when someone crosses a boundary. That knot in your stomach when something feels off. That flutter of excitement when something feels right. For so long, you were told those signals were wrong, that you were overreacting, being paranoid, creating problems. So you learned to override them, to intellectualize yourself out of your own intuition. But your body kept the score. It knew. It always knew. Now you listen. Someone says something that doesn't sit right, and instead of dismissing your discomfort, you pause. You sit with it. You ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? You don't have all the answers yet, but you're asking the questions. And that's progress. You make a small boundary, just a tiny one. You tell a friend you can't talk right now because you need to rest. And you don't over-explain. You don't justify. You don't apologize 3 times. You just say it. And the world doesn't end. Your friend understands. Or maybe they don't. But either way, you survived setting a boundary. You chose yourself. And nothing terrible happened. That's new. That's growth. That's trust building. You start noticing when you're right about things. The restaurant you suggested was good. The movie you picked was enjoyable. The route you chose was faster. These tiny validations matter. Because for so long, you were told you were always wrong. You weren't wrong. You were just told you were. By someone who needed you to doubt yourself so you'd never doubt him. You revisit old memories, the ones he rewrote. And you remember what actually happened. Not his version. Not the twisted narrative where you were always the villain. The truth. Your truth. And you realized your memory wasn't faulty. It was just inconvenient for him. This is how trust rebuilds. Not all at once. Not with grand gestures or dramatic moments. But with small, consistent choices to believe yourself. To honor yourself. To choose yourself. You won't get it perfect. Some days you'll still freeze at simple decisions. Some days the doubt will be louder than the clarity. Some days you'll fall back into old patterns of seeking external validation. That's okay. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be present, to be honest, to be gentle with yourself as you relearn how to be your own compass. The voice inside gets stronger with practice. Each time you listen to it, it grows more confident. Each time you trust it, it becomes more reliable. Each time you validate your own experience, you take back a piece of the power you gave away. You're learning that your feelings don't need to be justified. Your needs don't need to be earned. Your reality doesn't need to be approved by anyone else. You're learning that you can trust yourself because you never stopped being trustworthy. You were just convinced you were by someone who couldn't be trusted. The journey back to yourself is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before you were told you were wrong about everything. She's still there. That woman who knew what she wanted, who trusted her gut, who stood firm in her truth. She's been waiting for you, quietly, patiently, and with each small choice, each honored feeling, each boundary set, you're finding your way back to her. One decision at a time, one feeling at a time, one moment of self-trust at a time. You're already doing it. Keep going. If you're on this journey too, subscribe. Let's rebuild together. You're not alone.